Welcome, everyone. Today's discussion on Is Islam compatible with West? I will ask the questions that artificial intelligence will answer. Although I cannot cover all aspects of this vast topic, this video serves as a brief summary. Let's begin with the first question. Are Islam and the West locked in a deadly clash of civilizations?
The idea that Islam and the West are locked in a clash of civilizations is a controversial and oversimplified notion. This concept, popularized by political scientist Samuel Huntington, suggests that cultural and religious differences between Islam and the West are irreconcilable and inevitably lead to conflict. However, this perspective overlooks the vast diversity within both the Islamic world and the West, as well as the many examples of coexistence, collaboration, and mutual influence throughout history. While there have been tensions and conflicts, these are often driven by political, economic, and social factors, rather than an inherent incompatibility between Islam and the West. Many Muslims live in Western countries, contributing to their societies, and many Western nations have positive diplomatic and cultural exchanges with Muslim-majority countries. Framing the relationship as a clash ignores these complexities and can perpetuate misunderstandings and hostility. In reality, the relationship between Islam and the West is shaped by a range of factors, including historical interactions, global politics, and individual experiences, rather than an inevitable civilizational conflict.
Is Islam compatible with democracy and human rights?
The compatibility of Islam with democracy and human rights is debated. Critics argue that certain interpretations of Islamic law, particularly in conservative contexts, conflict with democratic principles and human rights, such as freedom of speech, religious freedom, and gender equality. They cite examples where Islamic law restricts these rights, particularly in countries governed by strict interpretations of Sharia. However, others argue that Islam can be compatible with democracy and human rights, depending on how it is interpreted and practiced. They point out that many Muslim-majority countries have adopted democratic systems and emphasize that Islamic teachings on justice, equality, and community welfare can align with democratic values. Additionally, numerous Islamic scholars and activists advocate for interpretations of Islam that support human rights and democratic governance. In essence, while there are tensions between certain interpretations of Islam and democratic principles, many believe that Islam can be reconciled with democracy and human rights, depending on the context and approach.
Will religious fundamentalism block the development of modern societies in the Islamic world?
Religious fundamentalism in the Islamic world is often seen as a significant barrier to the development of modern societies. Critics argue that fundamentalist interpretations of Islam resist change and modernization, often rejecting secularism, scientific progress, and democratic governance. This resistance can hinder social, economic, and political development, as fundamentalist movements may promote strict adherence to traditional values and practices, opposing reforms that align with modernity. However, it's important to note that not all religious movements in the Islamic world are fundamentalist, and there are many examples of Islamic societies embracing modernization while maintaining their religious identity. The impact of religious fundamentalism varies widely across different countries and communities, and in some cases, it may coexist with or even support certain aspects of development. In summary, while religious fundamentalism can pose challenges to modernization in the Islamic world, its influence is not uniform, and many Muslim societies continue to evolve and develop in various ways.
Are Muslims commanded to deceive non-Muslims in any way, at any time, if it serves Islam?
The idea that Muslims are commanded to deceive non-Muslims as a religious duty is a misconception often linked to the concept of taqiyya. Taqiyya allows for concealing one's faith in situations where there is a threat of persecution or harm. However, it is a defensive measure, not a blanket approval for deceit. The Quran and Hadith emphasize honesty and integrity in interactions with all people, regardless of their faith. The notion that Islam encourages widespread deception of non-Muslims is not supported by mainstream Islamic teachings.
Is ISIS a representation of true Islam or a radical corruption?
ISIS is a radical corruption of Islam, not a representation of true Islam. The group's extreme ideology and violent actions are widely condemned by the vast majority of Muslims and Islamic scholars around the world. ISIS distorts Islamic teaching to justify its acts of terrorism and brutality, which are in direct contradiction to the core principles of Islam, such as peace, mercy, and justice. Mainstream Islam rejects the ideology and actions of ISIS entirely.
And why is there so much conflicting information?
The conflicting information about Islam, particularly regarding groups like ISIS, stems from several factors. Firstly, the diversity within Islam itself leads to varying interpretations of religious texts. With over 1.8 billion Muslims worldwide, the way Islam is practiced and understood can differ significantly across cultures, sects, and individuals. Secondly, political agendas often influence the portrayal of Islam in media and public discourse. Extremist groups like ISIS exploit religious language to justify their actions, which can lead to misconceptions about Islam as a whole. On the other hand, some narratives may oversimplify or misrepresent Islamic teachings to either defend or criticize the religion. Finally, the rise of social media and the internet has made it easier for misinformation and propaganda to spread rapidly, further contributing to the confusion. It's essential to seek out credible sources and consider multiple perspectives to understand the complexities of Islam and its portrayal in different contexts.
Thank you for watching. If you like my content, you can support me by liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing.